Alright guys, we're here to play some Ratchet Clank 3, or rather watch himself playing some Ratchet Clank 3. Up your arsenal because I was doing arena challenges, as you can see, and the first 15 minutes of the commentary was actually fine, but the episode dragged on for way too long, and I kind of got to a point where I was saying nothing, which was silly. I should have stopped at like the 15-minute mark and just not played any more rounds of this, and just left them till later. But also there were quite a few failed attempts where I didn't pass the challenge, so I've clicked them out. So this is like a half-hour episode, what was effectively 40 minutes worth of material, or a 25-minute episode where it was 40 minutes worth of material. And you don't need to see the same challenge twice, because why? Like, there's just no point in you seeing the same thing twice. Yeah, there's not much to talk about because all I've been doing is like studying for exams and stuff. That's pretty much all I've been doing for the past few days. And uni hasn't been exciting. There's nothing's happened. All I've been talking about is fucking exam. That's all I've been doing. And it's not like I've been able to do much else, because having four exams in the space of 2 days is not conducive to messing around. In some bizarre display of dedication, I somehow managed to actually work, which is weird, because that usually doesn't happen. I usually just end up fucking around. Although I have played a fair bit of Tetris Battle in between stuff. Like, I've kind of kept the window open because you have to kind of wait for it to recharge. You have like 30 points. And every game you play costs you 5 points, and you gain a point back every 5 minutes. So on average, every 25 minutes, I've been going back and playing around with it, because I'm just bored writing down answers for things. Because I've been mainly preparing for an exam where we've been given the questions in advance. Because I've got like 4 exams. 2 of them are just normal exams. You just study the content. You turn up. You don't know what the questions are going to be until you get there. One of them's a take-home essay, which we have to do in the space of 4 days, which is bullshit. I thought we were going to get this like a week ago. Because 3 of the exams I've got to do are actual exams that I have to go to an exam room and write stuff down. So I have to study for those, and those exams are on the first 2 days of the exam period, so it's all over very quickly. But one of them was a take-home essay. I'm like, well, hopefully they'll get that out well and truly before the other ones happen. Like, hopefully they'll get that out maybe before the session ends, or maybe during this, like, early on during the study week, so I can get that out of the way and study everything else without having to worry. They're going to release the questions for that take-home essay 4 days before it's due, and it's due on the day of my first exam. Meaning I have 4 days to do it, along with doing everything else I would otherwise have to do. That is bullshit to me. Horrible luck. I'm usually quite lucky when it comes to exams. I don't have them all banked up in a row like this, but this time I've not been so fortunate. But if you have a shitload of exams in a row, you can technically apply for academic consideration and go, I don't think this is doable to any reasonable degree, and they'll be like, okay, we'll move one of them for you. You do have a point. This is clearly not conducive to good study or good results, so we'll reschedule one of your exams for you so you're not cramming. But this is like borderline doable but still ridiculous to me. Like, if I had any more classes and that's where the exam was going to be, if I had any more classes, I would be freaking out right about now about what I'm going to do and how I'm going to get all this done. This is probably the maximum I can do. And it's not like I'm working ridiculously hard or anything, it's just that I don't know how you can expect someone to do a written essay while studying for 3 other exams that are in 4 days and 5 days time. I don't know how you can expect that to be done well. I don't know. It's not good, but at least it'll be over quickly. I mean, once it's over, I don't have to do anything else. I can fuck around. I think, though, I'll be working, like, full-time between the start of December and the end of February. So that impacts you in that I am unable to record anything in that time with commentary over it because I'll be gone all day. And I can't record stuff on the weekend because my mother's here, and that's not conducive to a good recording environment because I usually get interrupted when she's here to do things, which isn't a problem in and of itself, but when recording stuff, that is extremely irritating. So I only record stuff when she isn't here, and it's not like I can, you know, sneak home from work and record stuff and then go back. It's not possible. So for that 3-month period, I might have to think of other stuff to do, and I don't know what that could be or what that would be. I can do other games, I suppose, that don't require commentary. I could do commentary in the form of text, like just writing text box things after the fact. I don't know. It'd be an opportunity to do some other stuff besides NLP. I doubt I'm going to get this finished before. Like I have no doubt this is not going to be finished before then. This LP, no way. I'd be very lucky if that was. Like I'd have to be pumping out episodes extraordinarily fast, and I've got nothing to talk about really. I'm not going to have that much to talk about between now and when I have to start work. I don't even think we're halfway through this at the moment. We're barely halfway through it, if that. So I very much doubt this is going to be done by that time. Or even by the end of the year, I don't think it's going to be done. Probably closer to, if I can somehow sneak in recording sessions, closer to January, February, really. But yeah, I'm just not sure as to what I'm going to do in that expansion? Time is not expanding. What am I talking about? In that spans of time. Span. I seem to be losing my ability to talk. Maybe this is a sign. I got no idea what's happening. My ability to word form is gone. It is vanishing. Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do in that period of time. Don't know. I could experiment with other things. I'd really like to get some more levels recorded, like for LVP. I've got a video sitting there in my projects folder, fully done, pretty much, that I could encode and go, hey, I want some more LVP levels, and then people will see it. Because a lot of people, not a lot of people, but quite a few people have gone, what happened to the LPP stuff? I've got literally no submissions, like none at all. 0 submissions for LVP stuff. And so there's nothing I can do. There's just nothing I can give you if there's no submissions. Where I can ask for submissions and then get them, and then, you know, try to work with that. That'd be a better idea than waiting for them to come in without asking for them. I also wonder how, like, if the community's still strong, if there's still good levels being put out. Like, Chimpanzee Rocket Cheat has been putting out videos. So there must be levels, but the levels he's putting out are like the MM picks. I don't want to put up MM picks because that defeats the purpose of what I'm doing. Because if you're playing LBP, you would already know what the MM picks are. Because that'd be like the first place you went if you wanted to play decent levels. So you would already been there. There's no point going back. See, I'm not sure what else I could do in terms of other games, like short games or whatever. I could do more events. More GTA events, because I wouldn't have to worry. I would have to worry about getting up because I'd have to go to work, but I wouldn't have to worry about uni, like having to get up ridiculously early or handing stuff in, or you know, I'd more or less be forced to get up. I wouldn't have to rely on myself to get up, because if I don't get up, I don't get to work at all. And I think we all know that not going to work is a bit more is more severely handled than not going to uni. They're not even gonna call you up and ask where you are if you don't turn up to uni, but if you don't turn up to work, they're gonna get on your ass. And employment is a buyer's market, so they've got the control, not me. And especially when you're a temp. Like, if you're a temp, you don't fuck around like that. You just can't. So technically, I do have to worry about getting up. But I don't have to worry about doing stuff when I get home. So I can do events and I can work on projects in, like, editing stuff without a problem. It's just that 9 to 5 I am unavailable in my entirety. The whole time. For that amount of time. So it's just, I'm just not there. If you have ideas, like, feel free to leave stuff. Like, I don't know what you would like me to do. Because this would be something where I wouldn't be talking. So the focus would be on the game, not anything I could add to it. It would pretty much be the game and nothing else. Maybe with text commentary, and that's about it. But as for what's going on now, I'm just trying to do exams and stuff, and because I can't do... All I can do at the moment is study for the 2 exams which I don't have the questions for, and write the answers for the exam where I do have questions, because there's one exam where there's 2 exams which are just normal, there's one take-home exam in the form of an essay where I have 4 days to write it, and I just give it to them like a normal essay, and I don't have to go to an exam room or anything. And then there's the other exam I have, which is halfway in between that, where I have the questions given to me in advance. You're expected to write the answers at home, remember them, then go to an exam room and write those answers down from memory. That's what you got to do, and it's good that you're given the questions in advance, and you can answer them in advance, and you have a very clear idea of what they want before you head into the exam room. But they're marked harder. So you do actually have to prepare for this. You're kind of forced to in a way, which is good. But in one way it's kind of annoying. And the way it works is they give you 16... They give you there's like 2 sections of it. Section A, which is like short answers, Section B, which is extended response kind of thing. There are 16 short answer questions which they give you. 8 of those questions at random will be picked and put in the exam. And you have to answer any 5 of the ones you're given. So you have to, to avoid risking having a question on the sheet or being forced to answer a question on the sheet which you have not prepared an answer for, you have to answer at home 13 of the 16. Because the worst luck you could possibly get then is you're given a sheet of 8 questions, 3 of which you have not answered. So if you're given 8 questions and you must answer 5 of them, you can only skip 3. So the maximum amount of questions you can't have a prepared answer for and still be ensured that you've prepared enough answers to make sure that all your answers are prepared is 3. And 16 minus 3 is 13, so you have to answer 13 of them to ensure that you're able to answer all questions with prepared answers. And that's fine for the most part. Most of the questions are fine and perfectly answerable. But there are exactly 3 questions in that bank of 16 that I cannot answer. 2 of which aren't my fault, 1 of which is my fault. Because I've skipped a few lectures, not many, but a few, and one of the questions I can't answer is about a lecture I didn't go to. And he does upload like the things, the lectures and the both the lecture slides and his lecture commentary onto the internet. He uploads it to the internet, so you can download it if you missed it. But I'd rather not have to do lectures I haven't done. So one of the questions is entirely my own fault. I can technically go back and look at what it is if I wanted to. It wouldn't be very hard. But the other 2 I can't answer because they're not really answerable as far as I'm concerned. Like one of them is about... There's an authority in Australia called the Australian Communications and Media Authority, or ACMA, and they do stuff. I don't know what they do. I don't know what they are. The question is, what are they? I've looked through every lecture slide and all my notes and cannot even find it mentioned, let alone explained as to what it is. Which leads me to ask, how am I supposed to answer that question if it's not there? Like we're not supposed to be doing extra research for this. It's not what we're supposed to do, and you're supposed to demonstrate understanding of the content in the course. So I'm assuming it's somewhere. I mean, and as for, albeit you missed a few lectures, I went through every single lecture, even the ones that I missed. It's in none of the slides. And if it's in none of the slides, he never talked about it, and we couldn't possibly be expected to provide 150 words, 120 to 150 words based on what he said. That's the other problem. The questions are like, because we've been given the questions in advance, we were also told how many words we should be using. And the short answer ones are like 120 to 150, the extended ones are 400 to 450. And again, most of the questions are fine, and that I can answer them with those many words. It's not a requirement, it's just a recommendation, but if you don't answer within that range, you're going to lose marks for either writing too much or writing too little. And some of them are just way too sparse, so I'll get to that later. But with the questions that aren't in the thing, I don't know how I'm supposed to answer questions when the content isn't there. Unless he communicated this to us telepathically, and that's a secret part of the exam. I've got no clue where I'm supposed to find that information. There's another thing where we were given, one of the readings was like a page from the Advertiser's Code of Ethics or something, and we were asked to summarize clauses from it. Summarize 5 clauses. For those of you who don't know what a clause is basically any part of a sentence that could exist as a sentence by itself. So in effect, a clause is shorter than a sentence. How are you supposed to summarize something shorter than a sentence in 20 to 30 words? Because if you're supposed to summarize 5 of them, and it's a short answer question, 120 divided by 5 is 24. 150 divided by 5 is 30. So 24 to 30 words, summary of a clause. That's confusing. A clause can be longer than that, but it usually isn't. But I was like, oh, maybe there are things in the document marked clause A, clause B, or clause 1, clause 2. There's nothing marked clause A, clause B, or clause 1, clause 2. There's nothing marked clause in the document anywhere. It's just a bunch of paragraphs, and some bits are small sentences, and some bits are big sentences, and some bits are on some topics, and some bits are on other topics, and some bits are more relevant to the question than others, and some bits are just it's like, what parts of this do you want me to summarize exactly that are gonna get me a decent mark? You haven't indicated at all what content you want me to give you. Like, what clauses? One, what's a clause by your definition, and what am I supposed to be summarizing within those clauses? Because the content of the document was so varied, I'm like, what parts of this does he want me to summarize? I don't get it. I'm confused. So yeah, some of the questions have been poorly written. And that's what the questions I can answer. As I said, the word... You're supposed to write 120 to 150 words for each one. And some of them, or most of them are fine. Most of them I can get to 120 easy and stay within the 150 limit. That's not a problem. But some of them just don't have enough content to be bumped up to 120 without me padding. And I don't want to pad because they're going to know that I've padded. But again, been through the lecture slides, been through the commentary, been through my own notes, there's nothing else there. So what am I supposed to write if I'm up to 90 words but I've already answered all parts of the question? There was a question there, a short answer question, which had like 4 parts to it. 4 parts! You'd think that'd be answerable in 150 quite easy because there are 4 parts and you can bump each one up. But no, I answered part 1, then part 2, then part 3, then part 4. I'm like, alright, that's all I've got to say. There's nothing else to say. Oh, I've only got 90 words, what the fuck? Like, I don't know if the 120 to 150 thing is like a strict... If you're outside this range, something is very clearly wrong, or if it's just a recommendation. I don't fucking know. And that's happened on 2 questions thus far, and I've answered 6, so 1/3 of the questions have less than enough content to be padded out to the minimum recommended amount of words. That's bad, man. Not that's Batman, that's bad, man. Maybe Batman could help me. I'm sure he's an expert on media ethics. That's what the exam is for. I don't know. It just doesn't seem logical. Some of these things. It just seems very quickly put together and not very well checked. This exam, I don't know about it. I'm iffy about it. As for the other ones, I've got no clue. Don't know how I'm gonna go. I mean, the maths one is what I'm worried about, because I've missed the last few lectures for that. Everything up to this point has been, even if it's been difficult, it's at least been understandable. He started doing stuff on functions, which is like y equals x squared kind of stuff. Things that you can put on a graph. Like not hyperbolas, what's the word? Parabolas and stuff. That kind of stuff, but it's not written y equals x squared. That's like year 10 level maths. That's simple. We're talking function x squared applied to the real numbers such that function x equals... Oh my god, I can't even describe it, it's that complicated. It doesn't make sense, and I'm looking at this going, what the fuck are you talking about? This doesn't make any sense. I don't understand, and you're making me sad. And when I was in the tutorials doing the work for them, our tutor's really cool because she goes through the stuff on the board, so thankfully I can understand what she's saying most of the time. But she was noticing when doing the answers on the board. She was like looking at me going, "Man, do you understand?" I'm like, "Yeah, I understand, totally understand." Because she could see the look on my face, like, "What the fuck are you doing? How does any of this link to anything you just did? Why did you do that and then you did this? How did that connect to this? And how did this connect to the other thing? Where did that come from? And why did you put that upside down? And why is that line over there when it should be on the other side according to my theory?" No, makes no sense. So I'm going to catch up on that. And unfortunately, because it was towards the end of the thing, you can bet your ass that there will be a substantial amount of questions on it in the exam, because they've already assessed all the previous stuff in previous assessments. So the final exam will probably have a focus on the stuff towards the end, which is always the hard stuff. And the weighting for all my other exams is like 40%, which is a significant amount, but still, you can kind of fuck up the exam and still do okay. Not that I plan to fuck them up, I mean, I plan to do well, but on the off chance I fuck them up, I've still got the other things to back me up. The weighting for the maths exam is 65%. 65% of your entire mark is based off this one thing. And it makes sense because this is like the only assessment where you're expected to do stuff from across the course and you're expected to do all the working out for it. Because they've had the other exam they had was all multiple choice, so you didn't have to do any working out that they marked. And the other assessments have been really tiny and didn't cover much of the course, so it makes sense for them to make it that much, but that's still a lot. Hypothetically, that means you could fuck everything else up and still get, you know, a mark of 65 on this thing. 65? I'm not sure. But you could still get a certain mark on this and pass the entire course. That's insane. Like, that's seriously nuts. I think the other course is going to be fine for. I'm just dreading this stupid 2,000 word fucking essay. I haven't even had to do a 2,000 word essay this semester. I've had to do essays that in total amount to, you know, 4,000 words or whatever. A substantially, you know, a substantial amount of words. But 2,000 words in one essay in 4 days, with full referencing, it's 4 different questions. So I don't think it's just one essay that's 2,000 words. I think it's 4 questions. I could be wrong there. The point is, it's just a lot of crap to have to do. It's just, it's painful. I really wish they'd given you more than 4 days to do it. I just don't think that's cool. And his reasoning for that was like, there's some people who have to do assessments that are going to be handed in after the session's over. So I'm only going to give out the exam once everyone's finished all their other assessments for this. And that is true. Other people will have assessments depending on their class arrangements to hand stuff in at different times. So that's just the way the class is made up. But it's like, it's still better for them if you give it to them earlier because they can still work on both at once. You know? Did you think of that? No, of course you didn't. So yeah, that's what I'm going to deal with at the moment. Hopefully I'll be able to get some episodes of this out. And I've got stuff banked up, so until December you should have a steady stream of content. I've got rounds of survival recorded in GTA Online. I've got events that I can go to and that I've got recorded up, so I should be fine for now. But until next time, I will catch you guys later.